Hello, everyone. I hope all is well. Happy Sunday. Happy holidays, wherever you celebrate, whether it's Hanukkah, Christmas, or Kwanzaa, or Three Kings, which is next weekend. I hope all is well with you all. And this is just a catch up. It's not like a regular thing, but it is a catch up on my analysis. I will resume back to regularly scheduled program in January because this is a holiday week here. So I'm here with the good stuff. So I am going to say something about COVID because COVID does need to be addressed because we're still in the midst of this pandemic, and Lord knows how long we're going to be in this predicament, but we're going to be in this predicament for a very, 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 very long time. So according to the Johns Hopkins website, which is coronavirus.jhu.edu, global confirmed cases is 80,751,164. So that's 80,751,164. Hi. The global death toll is 1,764,215. The U.S. confirmed cases are at 19,129,368. And the U.S. death toll has risen to 333,110. So this here is it's pretty alarming. And I'm just going to read some states because there's states that are dealing with this pandemic. And you can see in the Rust Belt, it's the numbers of cases is just wow. All right. Ooh, gosh. This is how much I have not checked this thing in a while. Okay. California has 2,153,541. Texas has 1,691,385. Florida has 1,271,971. Illinois has 939,671. New York has 928,376. Ohio has 670,525. Pennsylvania has 614,303. Georgia has 610,574. Tennessee has 549,229. And North Carolina has 517,449. Ooh, spit flying out my mouth. But there's other states like Wisconsin is in the 500s. Michigan's in the 500s. Indiana is close to the 500s. They're 496,000. New Jersey's 463. So every state in the United States has surpassed 100,000. Has surpassed 100,000. And of course, we have no kinds of relief. Actually, we don't have no national strategy, but there's a vaccine that came out. But you still have to wear your mask and still have to socially distance. And a lot of people are slacking. I see it through my Facebook timeline. It's ridiculous. So I'm going to address that point. Another is relief has been signed. Let's see. I'm going to check my news app because relief has been signed by the current occupant of the White House. So here it is. Trump signed stimulus and government spending bill into law. Donald Trump unexpectedly capulated Sunday night and signed the stimulus bill law releasing $900 billion in emergency relief fund to the economy and the averting Tuesday government shutdown. Because if he didn't sign this, that would be like the fourth government shutdown during his term in office. After holding the bill up for nearly a week, White House officials didn't explain why he decided to suddenly back down and sign a bill he had just days earlier referred to as a disgrace. Because he wanted the $2,000. I mean, that was in the HEROES Act. But anyway, Trump signed the bill while vacationing in Florida and on a weekend when he had allowed unemployment benefits for 14 million Americans to expire, and expired yesterday, along with the rent moratorium. So, pretty much, this man doesn't give a damn. No matter how much he signed the bill, but this $900 billion thing is nothing, and people are blaming and people are blaming the Democratic Party, which they only have control on 1/3 of the government, which is the House. And the House passed the HEROES Act back in May, which would have continued on stimulus check of $1,200 or even higher. Because the $2,000 was actually in there. Excuse me, actually, no, the $2,000 was in the stimulus package for the HEROES Act, along with money for testing, and money for the vaccine, money for schools to open up safely, to forgive loans, even though it was $10,000 they were forgiving, but that was something. And also extend unemployment up until March 2021, or when the pandemic was deemed over. But of course, Mitch McConnell held that up and is still sitting on his desk, along with the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. All of these bills that were passed in the House that would help this country right now is sitting on Addison Mitchell McConnell Jr.'s desk. So when I hear all these other mouths going after House Democratic leadership, you need to get at the GOP Senate. And those in the Democratic Party, whatever side of the Democratic Party you're in, whether you ideologically define yourself, you need to help get those Senate seats for Georgia. Because right now, it's the the Georgia Senate runoffs are determined who will have control of the Senate. Because if there are two, if those two guys, Reverend Warnock and John Ossoff, win, Chuck Schumer will be the Senate Majority Leader. And then you will have Pat Murray, then Elizabeth Warren. So Elizabeth Warren is in Senate leadership, technically speaking. So that is exactly why we need to put all our energy into Georgia. But I haven't seen anybody in the whole entire week on this app because I've been busy. I'm working. And also Christmas can tire the hell out of people. Wrapping gifts, disseminating gifts. I disseminated gifts to the concierge in my building, to the baristas at Starbucks, both locations, and some church folks, and my family. And I still got more gifts in my house to give, and my neighbor. So there's a lot of gifts I have to get to. Still give after Christmas, because you still giving gifts around Christmas week. But I am, besides catching up, I have to address these few, and yes, I do blast progressives, because some of them are not real. They're fake ass progressives. So I address Nina Turner is running for Congress, which I don't mind people, seeking ambition and, moving up in levels. But if you're going to run for Congress, be honest. Be real. Don't act like you have not done anything in your past. And then portraying yourself as this wholesome, peaceful person. Because that's what Nina Turner is doing. And it's sad and bad. She's on different networks trying to clean up her rhetoric from 5 years ago. She has to justify her positions from 5 years ago. She has to say why she did this and why she did that. Like, it's bad. Like, if I'm doing something, if I'm running for, mayor, I want to be real. Yes, I used to act out. I used to cry. I used to do this. I used to do that. I'm going to be real. Like, I'm not the perfect person in the bunch. I'm not. I had resource room in school during elementary, junior high, and high school to get extra time on my tests. Yeah, I'm going to be real with that. But with Nina Turner, she has to say why she has so much smoke for Hillary Clinton, why she did not vote for Hillary Clinton. Because Mehdi Hassan, which is another chaos agent, has a show on Peacock, the NBC streaming service, and he interviewed Nina Turner and he asked her why she did not vote for Hillary Clinton. Or did she vote for Hillary Clinton? And she said votes are secret. No, votes are secretive. She's a public figure. If she would have voted for Hillary Clinton, she would have said, I voted for Hillary Clinton. Instead, she did not say that. She said votes are secret or secretive. If Bernie Sanders was the nominee back in 2016, you would have been like, I voted for Bernard Sanders, because you know she like to say his whole name and shit like that. But yeah, she looking sad and bad. And she got to clean up her rhetoric about Biden, because she said supporting Biden is like eating half bowl of a shit. No, eating a bowl of shit. Half of a bowl. So Nina is playing cleanup and doing cleanup on aisles. I fucked up. Not aisle 1, not aisle 2, not aisle 3, not aisle 4, but aisle I fucked up. And I got to clean up my goddamn rhetoric so I can get the votes to be in Congress, so I can get supported by different people, so I can have constituents of Cleveland believe in me because I am the daughter of Cleveland. That is her approach, and that's going to be her approach up until whenever the special election is. But she also got some competition. She got Chantay Brown, who is the Democrat Party leader of something in one of the towns in Cleveland. So that's her. And I think is another person. I think it's a guy who's also throwing his hat in the ring. But Nina Turner is running as I don't know if she's running as the progressive, but she's running as a Democrat. She's running as a Democrat. I mean, got no problem. She could run as a Democrat or she wants to. But it's going to be an uphill battle. It is going to be an uphill battle for her. And the reason is because she said a lot of shit. Not just 1 or 2 years, but for 5 whole fucking years. She voted for Jill Stein back in 2016. She worked as a political commentator on CNN from 2017 to 2019. I think she's still a political commentator now, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't think she voted for Joe Biden. Absolutely, Jan. Absolutely. Because we don't need no more chaos agents. We need a cohesive party, whatever side of the ideological spectrum you're on, so bills can get passed and shit can get done so the American people can have a way of life and a way of living. We don't need chaos. Yep, she did say that. Nina Turner did say voting for Biden is like eating a bowl of shit. And she said it. So now she got to clean it up. It's going to be hard. And then what she said about Nancy Pelosi. And keep in mind, Nancy Pelosi is the House Speaker. She's the leader of that whole caucus in the House. You're going to have to work with her. You're going to have to work with her. You're going to have to work with Stony Hoyer and Jim Clyburn and Hakeem Jeffries. Because Hakeem Jeffries is the chair of the House Democratic Caucus. And if she is in there, She might join the CBC, hypothetically speaking. Joyce Betty, she another one who she's gonna have to work with. So this talk about the establishment. Yeah, she's gonna have to work with them. And that's a fact. Hey cousin, how you doing? But that's just what it is. So these so-called progressives, and I put the quotations on there because progressivism is not what these today progressives call themselves. Progressivism, or being a progressive, is being a person that includes people in the movement, not exclude people if they don't agree with them. That's a cult. So that's Nina. But then there's other people that has been completely a jerk on the Twitter Bird app. I'm going to pull up my stuff. Hello. Kirk Cameron. Y'all know who he is. He was one of the sons on Growing Pains, Alan Thicke's son on there. He became this evangelical jackass. So he was on Tucker Carlson, and he pretty much just said that you could get the virus of hope, because I'll just play this.
We've had upwards of 1,000 people come to sing carols because they're wanting hope and community. But I do want to give you one big warning disclaimer. If you come caroling under a starry night sky and a candlelit lyric sheets, and you have the U.S. Constitution illuminated by those candles like we do, you might catch the hope virus, and it's very contagious. Your heart will swell, your fears will diminish, and you might feel compelled to love your neighbor as yourself.
Okay, if Christ guided me to stay safe in this pandemic, he will say, daughter, stay your butt at home. Wear your mask if you're going to go outside, and keep your distance. And make sure you bring your hand sanitizer. Not be in a crowd of people to infect people without a mask and get sick and get your neighbor sick. But leave it to Kirk Cameron and his chaos agent sister, because Candace Cameron is not low neither, just to be evangelical idiots. They bastardize and profitize, or I can't say profitize, that's not a word. Profit on Christ. And you can't profit on Christ. Because the Lord don't like to be used as a prophet. Yeah, he's a quote unquote white, born again Christian, whatever he is. He's a fool. He's an idiot. So I think Kirk Cameron needs to wash in the blood again and read his Bible. That's that. Okay, there's another one. Another person. There's let's see. Walker Bragman. Hey Joseph, Walker Bragman. Goddamn Walker Bragman. Okay. Where is that So, Walker Bragman is like I say, he's a cartoonist. He is a national surrogate for Bernie Sanders. Tweeted this. He actually quoted Joe Biden's tweet. So I'm going to read Joe Biden's tweet first. After a year of pain and loss, it's time to unite, heal, and rebuild. Walker Bragman. nobody from Bernie Sanders' camp and Biden's administration, but Wall Street, Monsanto, all these other companies, and the GOP have representation. Okay. This is how people are stupid. Bernie Sanders can't serve in the administration because Bernie Sanders has a Republican governor. If he is nominated for a position, that means his governor can replace him with a Republican ally. And most governors have done that before. So that's how government works and politics works. So that's why Bernie is not in the administration. And the same reason for Elizabeth Warren, because Elizabeth Warren has a Republican governor as well. So, yeah, I don't understand why people can't understand that neither. But leave it to Walker Bragman to be ignorant and stupid. Like most of these white progressives, they're ignorant and they're stupid. Because if you were that smart, you wouldn't tweet it that dumb shit. Not at all. The problem with these progressives that I have is they think they're so intellectually smart. No, they think they're so intellectual. They think they're so wise. And just all that in a bunch. But in reality, they're really stupid. They don't know how government works. They think they have an idea on how government works, just how to be just a chaos agent and just to be a disruptor. Because if that's the case, Donald Trump would have had 4 more years. But he didn't. That being an outsider and a disruptor don't cut it. And for the last time, Bernie Sanders is not an outsider. He never was an outsider. He had worked in Congress for the last 30 years of his life. When he was in his late 40s or early 50s. And he has been in Congress ever since. Bernie Sanders will be 80 years old in the incoming year. He's not an outsider. He started out in Congress, in the House, and then he moved up to the Senate. He's been in the Senate for almost 15 years. In 2022, if he makes it, God willing, it will be 15 years for him. But it's a decade and some change. And Bernie Sanders drafted 422 bills and only 7 of them became law. If you've drawn up 422 bills within the last 30 years, only passed 7, you're not an outsider. You're considered the establishment. And Bernie Sanders is the establishment. This talk about the establishment voted for Joe Biden. Joe Biden is, he's part of the establishment, but corporate class, no. Joe Biden don't got money like that. You know who got money like that? Bernie Sanders. He has 2 organizations, Our Revolution, and I forgot what the other one is called. And he has 3 houses. Joe Biden only got 1. Kamala Harris got 1. Elizabeth Warren has 1 house. He has years of experience in Congress. So Bernie Sanders is not an outsider. So all this populism and outsider bullshit, he's not for the corporate class. but your mans have a many super PACs and 3 houses, and that's socialism. Nah, it's not. Nobody doesn't know what socialism is in this country anyway. Nobody. So, yep, the poorest member of, yep, exactly. Joe Biden don't got money like that. The only reason he started getting a little bit of money was because he wrote a book about his son, Beau Biden, aka Joseph Robinette Biden III. But not money like that. And Kamala Harris's money, most of it comes from Doug, because Doug is a lawyer. So technically, they both ain't got no money like that. But Bernie Sanders does. But he's fighting for the working class and the poor class. But you can give one of those homes to the poor class, but you didn't. One of them is your camps. But you're a socialist. Yeah, okay. Shit sound dumb. Then you have Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore. Where's Jimmy Dore's tweet? So I'm so sick of his shit too. I'm getting them all today. Because this forced to vote crap. So here we go. This is Jimmy Dore a couple of days ago. No health care, no UBI. $600 for you, $5 trillion for the donors. The oligarchy is begging for a revolution. Let's give it to them. Hashtag force the vote. Okay. A revolution? Revolutions are not televised. You ever heard that? The revolution will not be televised? Revolutions are not televised and they're not marketed. So Jimmy Dore is a really dumbass. Like a true dumbass. He's another rich white man who claims to be a socialist, advocating for the working class, but really profiting from them same working class people that subscribe to his whatever channel, whatever his show, whatever the hell it is. Jimmy Dore is just another grifter who is trying to keep up his lifestyle with $1 million. And then attacking people of color that's in the progressive wing of whatever it is. As much as I don't care for them, Jimmy Dore has no right to do that. He's a white man. So if I was him, I would shh. And don't utter people of color out your mouth. So that's all I have to say about him. That's the wrong app. Let me go to. There's some other folks. It's time to address them. Ryan Knight. Let me just read a screenshot of this tweet. The only reason why we don't have a single payer health care system in both corporate parties are bought and paid for by the giant insurance companies and big pharma. So yes, we need Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and the squad to apply maximum pressure on Speaker Pelosi and force a vote on Medicare for all. Okay. So no one still doesn't know what's in Bernie Sanders' Medicare for All plan, but we all know who came up with Medicare for All, and it wasn't Bernie Sanders. It was the late Rep. John Conyers of Michigan. He had Medicare for All because that was his bill. So I believe this is his. So this is according to govtrack.us. The United States National Healthcare Act, or the Expanded and Improved Medicare for All, is a bill first introduced in the United States House of Representatives in 2003 with 25 co-sponsors by former Representative John Conyers of Michigan. The bill had 49 co-sponsors in 2015, and as of October 2017, it had 120 co-sponsors, which amounts to a majority of the Democratic caucus in the House of Representatives and its highest level of support the bill has ever received since Conyers began annually introducing the bill in 2003. The act would establish a universal single-payer single healthcare system in the United States, the rough equivalent of Canada Medicare and Taiwan's Bureau of National Health Insurance, among other examples. Yeah, that is so true. So true, and you're so right, Jan. Where is it? So I'll read this last part. Let me read this paragraph before this last part. The bill was first introduced in 2003 when it had 25 co-sponsors and been reintroduced in Congress since. During the 2009 healthcare debates over the bill had become the Patient Protection and Affordable Healthcare Act, H.R. 676, was expected to be debated and voted upon by the House in September 2009, but was never debated. And that's because then President Obama was probably trying to get the GOP on board because there was no healthcare plan before President Obama came in. There really wasn't a national, it was not no concrete plan because the GOP has gutted everything before President Obama came. And that's the truth. But what's in this bill, and I was going to read the last one, what's in this bill is the national system will be paid for in part through taxes, replacing insurance premiums, but also by savings realized through the provision of the preventive universal health care and the elimination of insurance companies' over and hospital billing costs. An analysis of the bill by physicians for the National Health Program estimated that the immediate savings of $350 billion per year. Others have estimated a long-term savings amounting to 40% of the national health expenditures due to the preventative health care. Preventative care can save several hundreds of billions of dollars per year in the U.S. because, for example, cancer patients are more likely to be diagnosed at stage 1 through curative treatment is typical, and few outpatient visits instead of stage 3 or later in the emergency room, where treatment can involve years of hospitalization and is often terminal. Now, I'm going to read this last part now. On September 13, 2017, Senator Bernie Sanders introduced a parallel bill in the United States Senate with 16 co-sponsors. The act would establish a universal single-payer health care system in the United States. So if this bill was introduced in 2003 under the late Rep. John Conyers, why Bernie Sanders did not support it until 2016, but then introduced something in 2017 with only 16 co-sponsors. And then when he introduced the bill when he was running for president, he didn't even acknowledge this came from John Conyers. Yeah. The great First Lady, yep, Hillary Clinton introduced CHIP. I remember CHIP. Because I know kids in the hood where I grew up at had CHIP. Child Care Plus, Health Plus, HIP, United Healthcare. And people don't realize, like, some of these insurances companies, some of these health plans are tied into the Affordable Health Care Act. And by the way, single payer healthcare plan obviously don't work because look what Italy's dealing with in terms of healthcare. Yeah. So what I just read, and I'm going to just sum this up. Progressives, more so white progressives, and their black and brown allies continue to revise history, propping up Bernie Sanders as the king of progressives and the savior of progressives, and coming up with all these policies, which he really, Christopher Columbus, Medicare for All, which was first introduced and written by the late Rep. John Conyers III. So when I hear all these progressive activists and some of them that serve in Congress who keep touting Medicare for All and the Green New Deal like those are the most two progressive things ever, no, it's not. And when they mention Medicare for All, they need to mention the late Rep. John Conyers III, who was the originator and the creator of that bill. Yes, I did. I mentioned Christopher Columbus. Because a lot of these progressives continue to Christopher Columbus everything. And I mean everything. They either steal from black men or black women or Hispanic people. They steal and they revise. Like, oh my God, they came up with this. Like, oh my God. No. But Medicare for All, that was not Bernie's original plan. That was the late Rep. John Conyers III. Now, in terms of the Green New Deal, it sounds good, but you got to get back into the Paris Climate Accord because we're not in that thing now. And that was actually helping us to get to cleaner air and cleaner energy. And that's what President Obama and Vice President Biden was doing. But when you have people who complained about it, and then when white backlash, which is Donald Trump, got into the White House, he withdrew us from the Paris Climate Accord. So that's why you've been having inaccurate and crazy ass weather. So now that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris is in there, we're going to get back in there, and we're going to get back into the World Health Organization, which Donald Trump kicked us out of that too. Hey, Janelle and Jamila, sorry. But Bernie Sanders, all he did was sit on his ass for the last 30 years. He didn't get shit done. He got 7 bills passed. And one of them was, well, 2 of them were renaming 2 post offices, and one of them was Thaddeus Stevens. And there was another bill where he co-sponsored, I believe, with John McCain, the late John McCain, on the Veterans Bill. So all these bills he signed into law is not the stuff that he championed during his time when he was running for president twice. Bills that Kamala Harris passed in the Senate, even though she hasn't been there for long, but she was more active and more useful than Bernie. Some of that stuff she advocated for during her time on the campaign trail. And even Joe Biden. Whether we disagree with his record on certain things or not, he got shit done. And he's more progressive on guns, like in terms of gun control, than Bernie Sanders is. Bernie Sanders voted against the Brady bill 5 times. And that's the truth. Unlike Joe Biden, who actually pushed for the Brady bill. And he was very progressive on climate change, because he was. In terms of race relations, he has issues with, criminal justice. He had criminal justice baggage. And he ain't the only one. There's a lot of them that do. But I wish people would stop making it seem like Bernie Sanders is this kind of progressive savior and this kind of champion for people of color, more so black people, because his record does not show that. And there were other progressives who claim that they're for us and by us. And yes, I use FUBU. And one progressive criticized me because I use the term FUBU, because FUBU is from back in the day, a clothing company that most black people used to wear back in the 90s. But that for us, by us slogan is relevant for today. Like Curtis Mayfield's records are relevant of today. And for us, by us, half of these progressives, well, most of them, more so the white ones, they're not for us bias. Because if you was for us bias, you wouldn't trash the first woman of Jamaican and Southeast Asian descent to hold a vice president position. You wouldn't. So that's one strike they're not progressive. Another strike they're not progressive at is attacking the first female House Speaker in the House of Representatives, who actually is at the table with a whole bunch of men getting shit done. So that's another. Third, criticizing black voters from the South and black voters of all over, including the Northeast, because I live in the Northeast, born and raised in the Northeast, and some in the Midwest, and even out West, on supporting the former vice president. My candidate, who is now the vice president of the United States, vice president-elect of the United States, you guys trashed her. And then I know all the other candidates were not going to clinch the nomination because she was the only one that was close to it. So I knew the former vice president was going to clinch that nomination if she dropped out. And I knew the former vice president was going to pick the senator from California to be his running mate. That was a clear distinction. So those are strikes against them. So when Walker Bragman also complains about why no one from the Bernie camp is in the administration, because you spent 2 years criticizing the man, saying the man has dementia, when clearly the man does not have dementia. If anybody that has dementia is a current resident in the White House who has like onset signs. I'm not saying he has dementia, but there's onset signs. So clearly Joe Biden does not have dementia. His brain is still sharp. And he's saying acts that I don't even know. The Stanford Act. What the hell is the Stanford Act, Joe Biden? That's how long he's been in Congress, serving as a senator for 36 years. Plus 8 years in the House of Representatives. 8 years in the executive branch. Yep, and when Joe Biden was riding and voting in favor of gun control, Bernie was an NRA boy. Absolutely. I don't think they're stuck because of trauma. The reason why black voters went for Joe Biden, because if you see in campaign ads, because I thought because he was just the first vice president, he was the vice president to the first African American president. But when you dig in and when you listen to people, Joe Biden actually shows up to events that other black politicians don't show up to. That's serving in Congress, but way before Kamala. And he actually listens to people. And as much they talk about him, he listens to people. I mean, that's his Christian faith. That's not an lie. And he's a statesman, and they all respect that. And even though he has criminal justice baggage, I can't say he compensated for it, but he tried to make it right. And not a lot of white politicians actually do that. And he's trying to listen out to people. Yep, that's why I said his relationship with black people is like a marriage. It's like a whole entire marriage. It's like a whole entire marriage. But with these progressives, they just making up shit. They're almost just as equally bad as the extremists on the right. Not the conservatives, the extremists on the right, because I think the conservative majority in the Republican Party, I think they're dying out, because the Tea Party did a hostile takeover of the Republican Party, and Donald Trump was just their puppet that they have in there, and sign any goddamn thing without reading, because you know Donald Trump functions on a 6th grade level when it comes to his intelligence. So yeah, the Republican Party's conservative majority has died out. That Reagan conservative, gone. But with the Democratic Party, that left-wing populism is not going to fly. Because there's a lot of black people in a Democratic base, and half of them ain't going for that disruption, young people bullshit. I can tell you that right now. A lot of them is not going for it. And there are black people serve on both coasts, north and south representation. They're not going for that shit. And out west and in the Midwest, they're not going for people's shit. They're not going for Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, Tlaib, Omar. They're not going for their shit. And even Congresswoman Bush, they're not going for that shit. They're not going for it. They don't play that. That left wing, yep, that left wing BS ain't going to sell. So I suggest that these white leftists who was amping these black leftists and Hispanic leftists to shut the hell up. Because obviously it's not going to work and it's not going to fly. Even the incoming chair of the Hispanic caucus ain't going for that bullshit neither. Because he looked like he's about the business too. So either way, this left-wing populism, this progressive movement, they're not going for it. They're not going to have it. And these progressive outlets like TYNT, the Ryan Grims, and the Crystal Balls of the world, the Benjamin Dixons, and the Brianna Grays of the world, they're gonna have nothing to talk about. They're all gonna cry because they're not going to get their message out there. Cause why? Cause people are not going for that bullshit. People are trying to tackle this pandemic. It has a financial implication. Then you got racial injustice, not just in criminal justice, but in housing, it's in infrastructure, it's in education. It's all over. God damn it. It's all over. And they're not going for it. So these people can stop making noise, shut up, do whatever, find a new hobby, find something to do, because this whole populism crap, it's not flying. It's not happening. So they need to shut up. But anyway, it's getting late. It's after 11 o'clock and I got things to do. I got a week ahead of me. I am off on Friday. But you guys have a great holiday. Have a great new year. Don't drink so much. Keep your distance. Wash your hands. Wear your mask. And don't be in a big group of people. Because we're in the midst of a pandemic. And it's going to be like this up until, I say the earliest, October or November. Because we might be wearing masks in the summertime. That's why if you are creative with your mask, design it. If you know how to sew, God bless you. Not a knit, God bless you. If you don't, there's masks. There was masks on sale at Old Navy. So, and there will be more masks. You could get a pack. You can order some. Just get fly and get jiggy with it. All right? Well, until you have a good night. Same to you, Jan. Same to you, Jan. Same to you, Santandan. Same to you all. Good night.